Hi, everybody. Welcome to another interview that we are so grateful to be able to do here for the Rotoscopers website. And we are talking today with Hannah Parrott, and she is the new composer for the upcoming Dreamworks show, CROODS Family Tree. And this is going to be available on the Peacock Network on September 23rd. We're really excited for the new series. And thank you so much, Hannah, for coming on and talking with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so what we like to do is we like to get some backstory about our guests. And so tell us a little bit about how you became a composer.
Yeah. So I grew up in a very music loving family. My dad was always part of bands with local parents in the neighborhood, and my mom listened to big orchestral music all the time, like Gershwin and John Barry. So I was kind of inundated with music all around. And I personally fell in love with film scoring through scores like Finding Nemo and the Chronicles of Narnia, especially the Narnia series, because I'd read the books and loved them, and then saw the movie and was just jaw on the floor, amazing. And then I listened to the score, and it was another way to experience a story I loved, and I could take it
Mhm.
with me anywhere on road trips or just in my room, and I could experience the story that I loved again. So after that, I decided, well, goodness gracious, it is not close enough just to listen. I have to write music like this, and I have to tell stories through music. And so I announced at my 8th grade graduation that it was what I wanted to do. And since then, I have been working really hard to gain the skills. And I went to a conservatory of music, studied classical composition, and then buddied up with filmmakers at the university to get my foray into film scoring, that aspect of it. And then I had just an amazing opportunity upon graduation to work with many of the film score composers that I loved. I was able to do some orchestration work for Thomas Newman, worked on Finding Dory, which was crazy given my love of Finding Nemo. I worked with the late, great James Horner, who was just wonderful. So, yeah, that's how I got started. It's been a
Yeah,
crazy journey.
when you said Finding Nemo as an influence, I was going to say that must have been very exciting for you to be able to work on Finding Dory.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I fangirled pretty hard. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So you got to work with James Horner on the Magnificent Seven, right?
I did. That was posthumously.
Yeah.
I had worked with him on the team on Southpaw and the
Oh.
33. And then he passed away at the very beginning stages of Magnificent Seven. So I was, yeah, part of that team.
So when you are in the musical department, you're working on a film collaboratively with a composer like Thomas Newman. What is that actually like as far as your daily activities? Do you get assigned a certain section, or what do you do?
Yeah, well, it depends on the role. So
Hmm.
I've worn many hats. For Thomas Newman, I was part of the orchestration team. So the lead orchestrator, Jack Redford, who is a gem, an amazing, amazing musician and composer in his own right. I worked for him, and I would get assignments from him directly to prepare the music for the orchestra after coming from Tom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you think that there is something different required for composing for animation versus live action?
Yeah, I think it has different rhythms that you lock into. And obviously it depends on the genre, but specifically for animation, there's just so much detail in just inherent in the animation, and these artists that put in all this work and effort into these tiny nuances that the music can lock into that as well and be nuanced and varied and quick and broad. It really is, you're creating this sonic world along with the visual world that the animators created. And sound design as well. There are a lot of sound designers for animation that just really fill out the world so beautifully. I feel like they should have soundtrack albums in themselves. But I think there's a lot of room. You are creating the world. Whereas if in live action, you're working with a lot of found materials just by nature of it already existing. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that when the animated films, they will use a temporary track while there's deciding everything, and they'll sometimes use the scores from other movies or things like that. And does that influence you when you sit down to do the actual composing, what they had used before?
Yeah. Yes, I think whenever temp music is used, it can be kind of a shorthand for where people are at sonically. So, and it leads to kind of a jumping off point of like, oh, this is working really well, this isn't. And your decision making is kind of expedited sometimes with temp music. It can also, the flip side of that be, some decisions are already, laid out for you in temp music, and it can be restrictive sometimes. But I think when it's used as a shorthand for like, this is how we're feeling, this is the pacing, or we like this aspect of the temp track, don't like this aspect, it can expedite things as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you have the CROODS Family Tree coming up, and this is your first project for Dreamworks, is that correct?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it must be exciting to be able to work for
Very
them.
exciting.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Dreamworks film?
Oh gosh.
I know, tough.
I love The Prince of Egypt.
Yeah, that's my favorite too.
I rewatched it a few months ago. I was like, goodness, this is just, everything about it is so beautiful and thoughtful. And yeah, it's amazing.
And talk about amazing music. Oh.
Yes.
Wow. So when you're writing music for the show, do you listen to the Alan Silvestri movie scores, or do you try to kind of make it your own, or how does that kind of work?
Yeah. So for this series, they're coming after the second movie, A New Age, CROODS A New Age, which is actually scored by Mark Mothersbaugh. Okay. And it was different from this Alan Silvestri score in that it was incorporated a lot more world percussion and was just a bit more tribal, for lack of a better word. So I'm coming after that. So I listened to both scores. They're both, the movies, both of them are just phenomenal. But I did take more of a jumping off point from the Mark Mothersbaugh score. So yeah, the CROODS has lots of percussion and orchestra and unique combinations of orchestral instruments to make it sound unique to the CROODS world.
Well, that must have been very exciting to see your work with something that is so enjoyed like the CROODS.
Yes, I remember hearing, or I was told about this pitch, and then I, very quickly watched the movies, and I thoroughly enjoyed them, and I was so excited to get to, possibly be able to be part of this world. I laughed very hard. I thought the characters were so endearing, and the animation was just stunning. So yeah, I was thrilled. I was thrilled to be able to be considered.
So how does it work as far as the episodes go? Do they kind of give you the like what stage is the music added as far as the creation of the episode?
Yeah, the animation thus far has been locked. So the frames are all the exact frames they're going to be,
Mm-hmm.
and it's pretty fleshed out. Like I know what's happening. Everything is. I'm generally not confused by a lack of information in animation,
Mm-hmm.
and it just at that point we have a spotting session, and I don't hear temp music in our spotting sessions, um, which is awesome because now I just get to play with the toolkit we've created in the first few episodes and talked through.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we'll talk through, different beats, comedic or heartfelt beats that we're going to hit in the episode. If there's any clarity that they want to provide about certain animation that they're in progress,
Mm-hmm.
they'll provide that. If there's any gags, like musical gags that they want to incorporate that I wouldn't have known, we'll talk about that. But yeah, the animation is locked by the time I'm working with it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Very good. And do they must give you kind of an idea of sort of this is what the showrunners must say, kind of this is what we're looking for. This is what you know what we kind of want in this particular moments.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. We don't go like, second by second or anything, because at this point we have a little bit of a language that we're speaking just in general in the show,
Mm-hmm.
and recurring themes and sequences. But yeah, they'll point out specific significant moments or moments that maybe are different from how we've approached them before and are unique to this episode or unique themes to this specific episode. So
Great. Well, I'm really excited to get a chance to watch it. Last question, what would be your advice to people who want to get into film music?
Great question. I would say watch films and TV, listen to scores, listen to classical music, get familiar with how great stories are told, and and if you're really avid, break down why a piece of music moves you. Like if you love a specific piece of film music, listen to it and kind of try and be a detective and figure out what are the beats or the moments, the swells, the instruments, what they're telling you, because you'll find that you listen to a great piece of film music or a great piece of music in general, and you can parse out, oh wow, that high string line gives me a feeling of transcendence because it's high and there are these connections with what I experience in day-to-day life and through what I see and experience. So yeah, that would be my suggestion.
I think it's great advice, very much. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
do you have social media or anything like that you want to share?
I do. I'm on Instagram at H_Parrott Music. Pretty sure that's it. But yeah, generally all of them are Hannah Parrott Music, Twitter and Facebook and all that.
Well, we'll have that all in the written interview and in the description for the podcast. So definitely everybody take a look at that and follow Hannah on all the socials. And good luck to you in the series and everything else going on in your career. Look forward to following it. And thanks so much for taking time to talk with us.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
All right, we'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.